Hello, my name is Rosia Gardner, and I am the very, very proud principal here at Mauldin Middle School. I opened the school 16 years ago, and I have 44 years of experience. I would like to take you on a journey of my being an educator. I first started school in 96, South Carolina at Edgewood School. This was a predominantly black school, all black school. I graduated from Edgewood in 1967, and by the way, I was valedictorian of my class. I became a college student at Voorhees College, and this was very important to me because at first I thought I was not going to be able to go to college, and my principal took me along with two other students to Voorhees College. We passed a particular test and received a scholarship to Voorhees College. My college years began there. Went there for 4 years, graduated, did my student teaching at Barnwell High School, and the very next year became a teacher of business classes at Barnwell High School. The very next year, my husband and I, who's also an educator, went to Greenville, South Carolina to become a teacher there. We moved to Greenville in 1972 and have been with the school district of Greenville County since that time. We've had a very, very good experience. My husband and I were both principals during this time period. He was the principal of Tanglewood Middle School, and I was the principal of Northwood Middle School. Stayed at Northwood as principal for 11 years, and then was asked to come and open Mauldin Middle School. I've had a very, very good time and good experience here at Mauldin Middle School, and I am extremely proud of our school at this time. In 1972, when my husband and I moved to Greenville, my first teaching assignment was at Hillcrest High School. I was a business education teacher there. In 1973, when the new Mauldin High School opened, believe it or not, my husband and I both moved to Mauldin High School, and we taught there at the same time. In 1980, I went back to Hillcrest High School as an assistant principal. Stayed there for a few years, and then I began my journey as a middle school educator in 1983. In 1983, I was the assistant principal there until 1988, and at that point, in 1988, I moved to Northwood Middle School as the principal of the school. Back during this time, things were quite different. For example, we had paddling back in those days. A principal with a witness in the classroom, for example, could actually paddle a student. This was part of the disciplinary procedures that could be followed. I stayed at Northwood Middle School for 11 years, and at that time was asked to come to Mauldin Middle School to open Mauldin Middle. I started here in 1999, and I have been the very, very proud principal of this fantastic institution since 1999. We started here with the motto of expect the best. Expect the best. We have 3 expectations for our students here, and those expectations include to have a good attendance, to have good behavior, and to have good grades. These are 3 of the expectations that we have for all of our students here at Mauldin Middle School. This has been a fantastic journey as an educator here at Mauldin Middle, and after 44 years, I have decided that I'm going to retire from this institution. This has been a difficult task for me, a difficult task because I don't want to give my school up. But I know in order for its success, it will be successful, and the next person who takes this spot as the principal of Mauldin Middle School will do a fantastic job. Here at Mauldin Middle School, we expect the best. I have been asked about my first interview, my first job. Believe it or not, I received an application for the school, from a school, Bonwell High School. To this day, I do not know who sent me that particular application, but I filled out the application, turned it back in, and where I had done my student teaching the year before, now is becoming my first job as a classroom teacher. I stayed at Bonwell for 1 year, and then my husband and I moved to Greenville, South Carolina. Prior to my coming for that position, however, there was a recruiter on Voorhees College's campus recruiting for schools in Greenville, South Carolina. We went and talked to the recruiter, filled out an application, and then we moved to Greenville in 1972. My first teaching assignment was at Hillcrest High School as a business ed teacher. From that position, I stayed there 1 year and was asked about going to the new Mauldin High School, which was opening in 1973. Believe it or not, my husband and I both had an opportunity to teach at Mauldin High School. I was at that school until 1980, and in 1980 was asked, believe it or not, to go to Hillcrest High School as an assistant principal. I was at Hillcrest High School as an assistant principal until 1983, and then in 1983 moved to Beck Middle School. Beck Middle School was my first middle school in which I worked. I was there for about 5 years and then went to Northwood Middle School as the principal. I stayed at Northwood Middle School for 11 years. This was my first journey as a principal. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Our motto there was, "Together we can." Together we can. In 1999, I was asked about coming to Mauldin Middle School and opening that school. I very proudly accepted that position at Mauldin Middle School, and I've been there for the last 16 years. I'm the first and the only principal up until my retirement. My experience in high school, those were fun days for me. Fun days in the fact that we had a lot of teachers who really cared about us as students. We had situations where as our teachers were our close friends, but we respected them and they respected us. They were kind of your other mom and your other dad. Also, in 1967, the year that I graduated, during those high school years, we went to great lengths to do a lot of fun things in school. We didn't have a dress code as such, but we knew exactly what we were supposed to wear. There was paddling back during the days that I was in school. Thankfully, I was not one to get the paddlings, but I do have friends who did get paddlings in school. Those were days, too, as I said earlier, that I went to an all-black school. Everybody in my school was black, from teachers to students, everybody. In 1967, we did have an opportunity to go to the all-white school that was in 96, South Carolina. One of my classmates did decide to go there. Many of us stayed at Edgewood because we were good friends and we enjoyed the times that we had there as well. In 1968, after I graduated and gone to college, doors were open for additional students to go to 96 High School. If I could relive my 1967 senior year, I would. I had a lot of fun back then, and I graduated valedictorian of my high school class. Went on to Voorhees College, stayed there for 4 years. There was in society unrest, because this was during the time of the Vietnam War. Some of my friends, unfortunately, passed away during this particular time. But at Voorhees College, we had a good time there as well. I'm happy to say that during those 4 years, I learned and gained and made friends with a lot of folks, some of which to this day we are still in contact with each other. This was also during the time of the death of Martin Luther King. During this particular time period, of course, you know, there was unrest. There was even some unrest at Voorhees College. Thankfully, Miss Goody Two Shoes was always on the positive side. There was a poem going back to Edgewood. There was a poem that I learned there, and you've heard me say this many times before, and that poem is, "If a task is once begun, you never leave it till it's done. If it's great or if it's small, you do it well or not at all." This was a poem that I learned in Edgewood School, have patterned my life after this poem. When I look back over my life, I graduated from high school as a valedictorian. I graduated from college as magna cum laude. I've had various jobs in the school system of Greenville County. My husband and I both became principals of middle schools here in Greenville County. We have a fabulous set of twins, one of which is an employee of the school district of Greenville County. So I have been blessed. I have been fortunate, and I'm very grateful to the time that I have spent as an educator for these last 44 years. When we first moved here in 1972, all of my experience had been in high school. I was there at Bonwell High School, then at Hillcrest High School, then at Mauldin High School, went back to Hillcrest High School as an assistant principal. And in 1983, that's when our twins, Alex and Alexis, were born. And I'm thinking all this time, how am I going to be able to do high school responsibilities with all the many tasks that have to be done in the late evenings? How was I going to be able to have twins and do all of these night activities? Well, the good Lord was still looking out for me, because in 1983, they were born in April, but in 1983, that fall, I was asked to go to Beck Middle School. My prayers had been answered to have a middle school setting as opposed to a high school setting. When I went to Beck Middle School, we did not have all of the night activities. We did not have, this was before athletics in the middle schools, so all of the night responsibilities were not like they were in high school. I had an excellent experience at Beck Middle School, and then from there I went to Northwood Middle School as the principal and had a very good time there. And as I've said before, my last 16 years at Mauldin Middle have been just superb. I've been asked the question about the changes of discipline over the years. Well, one of the major changes is that when I first started, we could paddle students, believe it or not. You had to have a witness in there when the paddling was done, and you would ask the student, do you want to have paddling? We would give the students a choice. Would you rather have paddling, or would you rather have detention or be suspended from school? This was also before the days of in-school suspension when I first got started. So yes, if a child said, I'd rather take the licks, we would give no more than 3 licks at one time. And we would let the parents know, and if they agreed with that. But it was very important, you'd never paddle a child without having a witness in the room or in the office when you were doing that. That was abandoned in the early 90s. When that was abandoned, we were then had the opportunity to offer the children in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, or detention. This works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. but it really depends upon the student and their willingness to do the right thing as opposed to have to be disciplined at all. Of course, we always keep the parents informed of what's going on and keep them abreast of what their children are doing in school. Sometimes students do things at school that they would never do at home. And by the same token, as long as you have strong, supportive parents who are willing to do their part, the discipline of our schools will continue to improve. I have been asked, well, what are you going to do once you retire? Right now, I just want to exhale. I just want to exhale. For the last 44 years, I have been getting up early every morning coming to school. I know for the first few days I'm not going to know what to do with myself, but I'm sure I will eventually find out. We do have a couple of trips that we have planned already, but I'm excited about being able to get up when I want to get up, not when I have to get up. I'm excited about little things like going shopping in the middle of the day or taking a trip during weekdays as opposed to having to wait until the weekend. I'm excited about helping out wherever and whenever I can, but at my own pace as opposed to being expected to do certain things. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Yes, I'm excited. The advice I would leave to the person coming after me, because Mauldin Middle School has been my baby. This has been a gift to me. We started here in 1999. So to Mr. Killian, my replacement, I would ask him and hope that he would continue having Mauldin Middle School to be the best school that it can possibly be. We have excellent teachers here. We have excellent staff members. We have great students, and we have a very supportive parent group. Working with all of these segments of our school, I wish him success, I wish him happiness, and I wish him longevity. This is an awesome school. Here at Mauldin Middle School, we expect the best. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, oh God. I'm sorry, I was looking at that rather than at as a, I'm sorry.
Number 15.
Celebrate good times, come on. It's a celebration.